Transmission is go. Underbase is live.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Underbase. My name is Adam88M, and we're back for Angry Birds Transformers 4, the finale, the beak-scratching, feather-ruffling, pig-nose-snuffling finale of the story of our times. Hello Nicole, how are you?
I am well, and yourself?
It's been a busy week, funnily enough.
Slightly.
Right, so we're gonna before we jump onto the review, and it is going to be quick. Nicole, apologies for this, but just going to talk a little bit first about the news of the week, because what came out during the week, and this is very big for people in the UK, is that Auto Assembly, which is our major convention in the UK, which has grown up over the years to become really the centre of our social calendar in terms of fans meeting fans. More so than fans meeting guests or particular writers or voice actors, etc. It is the fan-based convention. And Simon, who is the chief, his convention, he announced that 2015 was going to be the last one. Now, the reason he's doing this is because of many things affecting him personally. That he's noted in his letter, which is, if you have a look, AA 2015 on Facebook, on Twitter, on Tumblr, it'll be the first thing that comes up. It's on their website as well, and it explains all the situation going on and why it's best that they halt it this year. And they want to halt it on a high. So, with that all said and done, it's prompted a very passionate response from a lot of people. Very quickly, Nicole, what were your views when you first heard the news?
I'll admit, I was bummed. I was like, no, this really is sad to me, because I got to know some people I consider family because of Auto Assembly, yourself included, and a bunch of other people. But you know what? I still have an Auto 2015, and so I'm not going to be bummed. I still have another year, and then I'm going to enjoy it, and then something else might come up. Most likely something else will come up. But yeah, it was kind of sad at first, but you know what? This isn't like the first time this has happened to me. Like, finding out something I love is ending. But guess what? You move on, and something else comes to replace it, and you love that just as much as you did it. You still have those memories. You still have all those good times and all those friends that you've made. Just because something's ending doesn't mean that everything else is gone with it.
It's a nice outlook to have, because a lot of people have been, why is this happening? Well, Simon's already stated.
Yeah.
Can anyone run with AA? Can't we keep it going between us? Well, there's a lot involved in it, and actually Simon did look to that, and it's fallen through, and he states that in the letter. And then the final thing is, and people are kind of, as you say, they're jumping ahead of 2015, and they're going, what's going to happen for 2016? And to that I would say, folks, have faith. There are more than enough people. We have attendees at AA who run their own conventions. We have traders who run their own conventions. We have special guests who are involved in the running of conventions. I mean, across the board, there's so many people. There are also existing Transformer conventions elsewhere in the UK. Rockall is a good one, and Scott Con as well. And there are tons of meets. So trust me, I'm sure something will come up. But for the meantime, focus on 2015, people. If you can get there, great. If not, there will be opportunities in the future. Mr. Charles, Big C, I'm talking to you when I say this. There will be a time when we meet, sir. So do not worry if you can't make it this year. Do you think everyone is relaxed and calm
I'd like
now?
to think so. Just breathe.
Do you think my Facebook profile will stop running like a tap?
I want to say yes, but I would be lying.
Right, let's jump on then to Transformers Angry Birds issue 4. Issue 4 entitled Hard Boiled. Written by John Barber. Art by Marcelo Ferreira. Colors by Nikos Koutsis. And apologies, Nikos, I think in the last review I said Koutis, but it is Koutsis. Guest art by Livia Ramondelli. Oh yeah! Letters by Chris Murray and Barely Hanging On, David Hitchcock. After a confluence of mishaps, too mind-boggling to deeply ponder, the Egg-Spark lands on Piggy Island and begins changing every fowl or pig that dares to touch it into wild new amalgamations. And that was just the beginning. Now the island itself has begun to change, and it's not a happy-go-lucky sort of mutation either. No. It's more of a let's shoot laser beams and send giant grabby tentacles of doom-metal Autobots and Deceptihogs sort of thing. With eggs and more laser beams. Oh look! A squirrel! Enjoy the finale.
That's an awesome opening.
I just want John to do more of this.
This is John's relaxing comic that he has to do. He's just like, you know what, I feel like just goofing off and having a good time and throwing caution to the wind and boom, here we go.
There's an element of this that I think he's really embraced due to the fact that he's worked on the TFGI Joe comic, because we'll see that in this issue, is that it has the Scioli and Barber's pacing in that comic is very similar to the pacing in this, i.e. it's almost like a bunch of highlights, but it still fits together because of the information in the scene. God, look at us. We're getting all serious about an Angry Birds comic. That's what we do when a comic has depth. Drift.
Oh,
right.
You said it.
So we have two covers. The standard cover, cover A, is our cast of animal heroes and villains. Aghast as Starscream Bird gets his hands on the Egg-Spark. Art by Marcelo and colors by Koutsis. The subs cover is Optimus Bird striding forward, flanked by both Birdbots and Piggycons. Art by Angry Guido, which I'd like to think is like Guido but kind of crossed with the Hulk.
I love the look on Starscream's face. He's finally got the power, and again, just like you'll see. Just like maybe he only has it for a few seconds. I love it. But I also love Guido's. It's so fun.
It is. It's a really nice cover. The first time I saw it, I was actually a bit miffed that I didn't get this cover reserved for me at my local comic shop, and then I looked back at the first cover, and I thought, well, actually, the first cover does have everything. It has that wonderful image of Starscream. Just, yeah, all good. And then just pretty much everyone in the background all doing their thing. If the only thing that could have made this better is if the minion pigs were flying around the top of the comic.
Yeah, they're not there.
Because, ladies and gents, we are all about the minion pigs.
Little triplets
in this series.
Maybe they're underneath Starscream.
Awesome. So, I wouldn't be surprised actually. So we start off, and things are bleak for our heroes and piggies as Optimus struggles to inspire the moment with a speech, noting that he seems to be running dry on the heroic. Now, he isn't alone. The very island itself is being consumed by the Egg-Spark and being changed into metal, to the utter dismay of the piggy minions. I'm sorry, folks, if you have a soft spot in your heart for these guys, there is a lot of pain and suffering from the piggy minions. Emotionally, they run the full gamut in this issue. They probably have the most emotional arc of any Transformer related character ever.
I love them. They're so adorable.
Sweet. So, whilst they're busy kind of yelling and shouting, their exclamations actually help one of the other bots kind of figure out what's going on. Soundwave Pig jumps up and, to the squeals of both leaders, explains what is really happening. Operation Explanation. The X-Bug draws power from the island. Yes, Barbara's still continuing the whole Soundwave speak. The X-Bug draws power from the island, which is running out of energy. Your inspiring speeches are draining away. Operation Correlation. The X-Bug is transmitting the power to you to maintain your new identity. The weaker the X-Bug's power source grows, the weaker our new forms become, including the new forms of the eggs and Piggy Island itself. Now this presents a dark resolution, a simple one for the current problem, as Megatron explains. Of course, if we let Piggy Island die, everything will return to normal. Then I can eat the eggs.
He's halfway right.
Of course, that's left our Piggy minions distraught. And Megs gets, for his troubles, he does get another slap from Optimus, which is probably one of the best little running jokes in this series. Because how often in the past have you wanted Optimus to just clout Megatron round the head? Stop being devious, slap. Admittedly, you could argue that Will doing this to Megatron caused this whole mess in the first place, but still. Oh, and whilst this is all going on, Galvatron Peg. Remember the weird guy with the voices in his head? He's currently having like an online conference call with the imaginary beings sharing his headspace, and they come to the idea that destroying everything could be the best course of action. However, Grimlock Bird decides to just stomp on him for a bit and keep him down and out of it for the moment. Galvatron Pig is genuinely a worrying creature in this.
I like Galvatron Pig because, my gosh, there's so many things that are going on with him.
And he's genuinely dangerous.
Yep, he is. He's a psychopath, that's for sure.
We should take a quick moment here to say, what level are you up to on the old Angry Birds?
Oh, let's see. I've got it here. I was playing it while I was waiting for you.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We will not be having another pause whilst Nicole plays.
No. Let's see. 148.
That's not bad.
I haven't been playing a whole lot, so.
That's good.
But are you in your 200s yet?
208.
Oh my gosh!
The reason, folks, why I started talking about the game is because of some of the artistic touches that I noticed, especially in this issue. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
If you've played the game, you will know that I think it was around Christmas, they gave us a few extra levels. There were, I think, Santa hats, weren't there, for the characters that were free. And then there were a series of costume add-ons that you could purchase. Now, obviously, with any game, this is a good way of the game owners getting a little bit of extra money for people who really want to pay out for this stuff. However, a lot of the characters will, during this issue especially, wear some of those extra add-ons. It's often quite subtle. But I have noticed it. Yeah. I think it was at one point Galvatron I noticed. Yeah, there's a couple of them actually. And I just went, oh, that's from the game. That's an upgrade kit. So it's good to see that they're doing that. And there's also as well, if you, we'll see if there's any moment that's similar to this extra level, which I'm sure other people listening are already aware of. I'll point it out. But it's the game is still going good. So anyway.
It's a fun game. It's very addictive.
They should be hopefully putting out a new level soon. That's the hope. But right, we need to jump back. Yep. Remember, folks, I'm a grown man. This is clearly not right.
I'm a grown woman too. So.
Grimlock has just stamped on Galvatron, taking him out for the count. We then have a few beeps from B, a few unreadable murmurs from Heatwave, sarcasm from Megs, heroics from Prime, and then after all of that, we actually reached the title page of the issue, with the birds and pigs going hell for pork against the Eggbot forces, with only Starscream Pig unusually quiet. These guys need to get to the Eggspark, which is currently guarded by an army of Eggbots and a wall of metal. So, Nicole, how does this start? How does this grab you? Final issue, there's a lot going on. You've got some plot points. You've got a lot of little jokes in there, and it's really quite compact.
You know what? I was going to say that there's I mean, we were just discussing 4 pages right now, and look how much has happened. Plus, you get, like you said, a lot more details from the game. You got the middle trees, you got the falling motors right there, and you got a lot more details, and you feel like that this island is just being totally consumed, and you're actually worrying for these guys. You're like, are they going to get out of this? And then, of course, it ends with Starscream and his shifty little eyes there. Oh my gosh, I love that.
You just know that something's gonna kick off.
Yeah, the interaction with all the characters, seeing the good guys and the bad guys having to team up for this. I always enjoy that kind of plotline, having the good guys and the bad guys having to team up for both their good. And then there's Starscream again. Love it. And again with the artwork, amazing. All the color. Again, when I say artwork, it also includes the colorist because it just pops out at you. I mean, the background coloring, the coloring of the characters, everything just pops right into place.
The review PDF that we normally look at, again, we always say it doesn't really do the colors justice, and I'd say in this case it really does do it a disservice. I picked up the physical copy and the colors just sing off the page, whereas what we've looked at before is actually quite dull in comparison. But all these little nods to the game, these little bits that have been brought in, these action sequences, and you just get the feeling that, especially for this last issue, that the artist was clearly just playing a few levels of this and then getting back to work every so often, and just kind of maybe using this as a way to vent some of his frustration. You never know. And it's great as well because we then jump back to the battle, and it's the good guys and the bad guys going for it. Prime is at the front of it. Autobots, Deceptihogs together for Cybertron. Biggie Island.
I like that.
I love it. They're still playing on this. They don't know quite why they're talking Transformer lines. If we could ever get real Angry Birds and Pigs over to AA, this would be their script reading, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh, that'd be so much fun.
There we go. Right. So, whilst these guys kick off, the Blues and the Minion Pigs are motoring as fast as they can to grab a secret weapon. Now, the pigs reveal at this point that they're unused to the Birds' fairer way of doing things. And we've said before, the Blues and the Minions seem to have a connection. Mostly because they are the small round guys of each side, but also because they have quite a basic view on the world. But before they can talk any further, a tower collapses on top of the Bluebird group, leaving the Minions in game-accurate flying attire. Oh yeah, with balloons and dynamite hovering over the rubble. Oh,
I love it.
They look so sweet as well, flying along with their little balloons. But we jump back very quickly to the main forces, and we're getting this kind of rough team-up thing. Nicole, as you said earlier as well, Lockdown and Grimlock, Heatwave and Soundwave, RC, and, well, nobody, because she's just kind of being sarcastic to everyone. and she trips over an eggbot with the sound quack, which I think is brilliant because it's one of many, many noise effect jokes in this issue.
The onomatopoeias are amazing.
It's when you get to Drift later on, and they've got absolutely nothing to do with explosions whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. But yes, these guys are looking out for each other. The Flying Minions, we jump back to them. They've flown away from the Bluebirds. They've had a bit of a crisis of conscience because they don't know what they should be doing. They've had a glimpse at maybe a better life, a fairer life. They're unsure what to do. They realize that by running away and by letting the Bluebirds down, they're kind of doing what Megatron would want, and they don't want to do that anymore. So they're going back to the site to see if the Bluebirds survived. Back at the site, a hand punches out from the wreckage, and the first thing I did when I saw that was I went, Target 2006. Because at the end of Target 2006, Galvatron punches his hand out of the wreckage. Now, I know this is one of the most, not cliched images, but let's face it, we always see, hero punches his way out of wreckage. Hurrah! But bear with me, folks. I'll come back to the 2006 similarities later on. So whilst we apparently have a Bluebird that's still alive, back at the base we've got Bumblebee still doing his whoop, ha ha, whoop, wee, on our wee, wee. Yes. Which is all good. That sounds like R2-D2. And for some reason, amazingly, the Bird and Pig forces have managed to reach the wall. Now, they've managed to make it through everything else, but this is a solid wall. How are they going to get through? Well, at this point, Drift steps forward. Now, earlier in the issue, in one of the many background details, Megatron had a little bit of a dig at Driftbird, because Driftbird tends to use the same sentence.
Yep.
The same honor and all of that jazz. And so he was kind of a little bit dismissive of, I imagine, his abilities and just the way that he conducted himself. And so as Drift charges forward to hit this wall, he suddenly gets quite eloquent. Sometimes honor provides the answer, Starscream Pig. Other times you must remember what you truly are. I am a samurai, honorable and true, but also I am a bomb. Which, let's face it, is what his Angry Birds character is. And as he drives off at the wall, taking one last glance over his shoulder to note to Megs, how's that for platitude? And just goes flying into the wall. If that had been a death scene, that would have been one of the best that we've had in Transformers. You know that.
I was wondering, when I first saw this, I'm like, did they just kill someone off in Angry Birds Transformers? I honestly thought he wasn't going to make it out.
And it's a really nice, as well, reaction shot of Megatron. I love that pose.
Oh, I know.
That is, a beautiful shot of a character that's trying to duck away from a massive explosion. But as for the actual sound effects in this scene, when Drift's charging forward, he's got a little noise behind him going, wick, 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 wick. And then when he hits the wall, you get, oh no! And then when it blows up, you get, Mignon! And it's like, what?
Oh.
Sorry, folks, there was no way to speak that. I had to just sing it.
I prefer your singing.
Thank you. Many people will disagree. So
I think you should sing the rest of the comic. No?
And that's the end of the review. Thank you very much for joining us. So elsewhere, the minions find the Bluebirds are still alive, if a little battered. The Autobird forgives them for their momentary failure, and they strike out together for freedom, emboldened and confident. In fact, they all look pretty badass, actually, and the pigs look pretty cool, especially the one chewing on the lit dynamite stick. So, things are looking rather good. We appear to have a hole in the wall, thanks to Drift. We appear to have a team going out for a special weapon. What could possibly go wrong? Galvatron Pig wakes up and just starts railing on people.
Oh, Galvatron. He is fierce. This is kind of scary.
For an Angry Birds character to just have this level of violence. So he's currently wrapped up and he's being carried around by Grimlock Bird. He snaps free of that and stamps down on Grimlock Bird in his neck.
Yeah.
The next time we see him, he's got jazz round the throat. Where have I seen that before? Oh yes, Target 2006. And RC there as well. And even the bots inside, because these bots have obviously gotten through this outer wall and they're near the X-Bar, but they're wondering what to do. They're also as well helping up a rather phased Driftbird, which I didn't actually notice the first time.
Yeah, I mean, he just went through a wall. He's going to be a little dazed and confused.
He's going to be a little bit out of it. Now, at this point, the Blues are back with the minions, and they've brought back the secret weapon. What was it? It was the slingshot. from the other issue. That Heatwave used to actually get back to them. They've motored and grabbed this thing. They obviously have a plan to take out the X-Spark and get rid of it from Piggy Island before it's too late. Unfortunately, Galvatron is now just destroying this plan because he's taking everything down. And the first thing he does is just smash his hand in a hammer blow down on Blue Streak Bird. And
my
the
gosh.
birds are in pain.
Did you feel that pain with them? It's like, oh, those poor little guys. They're the little guys going against the most fierce guy. And you're just like, oh.
It's not just that, though. It's the reactions of the minions as this happens. They're absolutely horrified. As Megatron kind of says as Megatron and Prime just kind of look on, half bemused, half confused. And Megatron notes, well, you can't say he's not effective. Prime's just like, ow.
Can I tell you that this whole series, I love this Megatron.
He's great.
He's got such subtle humor, which for some reason I find absolutely hilarious.
I just like his insistence on scheming in full view of Prime
Yep.
and just being so unsubtle. I'm here to eat the eggs. I mean, I'm here for victory. But Galvatron is just cutting loose, and the minions, the weakest characters, I think just like last time, are trying to almost hold him up, to try and do something. They can't believe as well that one of their own, let's face it, a pig, is suddenly intent on taking everyone down, even his own side. And it's not getting any better, because the next time we see it, we see Galvatron uppercutting Lockdown and practically knocking his head off.
Yeah.
And there's nothing anyone can do. This is really nasty stuff. So whilst this is all going on and the bots are desperately trying to rein in Galvatron, Starscream takes his opportunity because nobody is looking at the X-Spark. And his little evil snidey face, as he wanders over, puts his hands on it and says, "Hello, Ultimate Power."
I love that panel.
And then we cut back to the most shocking image of the entire issue. I can't believe they've gotten away with this. Galvatron firing point blank into the chest of RC.
You talk about hurting. Oh,
She's got to have a hole through her. She's got to be dead.
I'm surprised she isn't, really. But I understand why. It is a young reader's comic. So
Also as well, it's a robot body, but let's face it, it's only their heads that are genuinely organic. So
that's
they can wander around. But and this is when I started to really pick up on the Target 2006, because somebody then comes up behind Galvatron, and he turns and goes, "Who dares?" That is from the end of the part of Target 2006. Because then when you turn the final page in the UK comic, you get his Ultra Magnus. I dare, Ultra Magnus will stop you or die trying. Whereas in this case, of course, it's not. It's someone different. It's someone who is empowered. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have, and I'd like to call this the Underpork-powered Starscream.
Oh, Adam, there's a reason why I love you.
Starscream Pig dares, and who dares wins. The X-Spark may be draining Piggy Island's energy, but when all that power is channeled into one pig, you'll see the pig is mightier than the sword. Which Galvatron is wearing his sword, which is a payable upgrade in the game.
Oh, I haven't got to that part. I've never
Ah.
watched it.
Come on, come on!
Yeah.
Speed through it, you can do it! And Starscream's just looking forward to taking on Galvatron, because Galvatron looks like a worthy match. And these two are going to go head to head. The bots have no idea, the rest of them, what to do.
Well, do you blame it? You got the psychopath, and then Starscream's grown to 4 times his size, and he's on fire. What can you do?
A Soundwave Pig says, "I guess it's all down to a schemer and a ruffian. Who do we stand with? Our allies or the sure winner?" And Grimlock say when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and they take on Galvatron. However, even though they lay into him, and poor old Soundwave is straining just to keep Galvatron back, nobody can handle Starscream. It's like Starscream is basically going to take everything apart. All hope is lost. Until. And
my
this
gosh.
is John basically trolling us, isn't it?
I love this is one of those I fist bump the air panels. It's just oh I wish I could high five John Barber for this panel.
It's none other than Bumblebee Bird, woohoo, who leaps forward with a woohoo, and then we get a translation from John. That woohoo translators, actually, Starscream Pig, this is not a job for a pig. If you want to knock something down, your best bet is a bird. I was like you once, selfish and reckless. But I understand responsibility now. This is not just about me, it's about all of us. So get ready, because here comes Bumblebee Bird to save the day. He grabs the slingshot, and he charges Starscream like a jousting knight. And then he gives another woohoo again, and John explains again. No, really. The last one really said all that. This one, though, he's actually just saying woohoo. Actually, no, he's just saying woo.
Oh God, I shouldn't find that much joy in one panel, but I do.
But the next thing is the next panels.
Uh-huh.
You've got this lovely shot of Bumblebee. He charges Starscream, and he's wrapping the rubber band of the launcher around him, and you see this panel. It's really nicely done of him sort of charging up, transforming, almost like the old kind of back covers to the toys, wrapping it around him and moving forward. But I love the fact as well that like John's put a little note in there saying it's in slow motion. And once he's done that, he then throws the actual launcher base, construction, wooden part, whatever you want, the catapult part of the catapult, as far away as he can and into the ground. As soon as it strikes the ground, it's already stretching the bands. So as soon as it lands, Starscream has one moment, one tiny moment, when he looks up and realizes that he is in the slingshot and that he is about to get launched far away. And he only manages, with his shoulders dropped and his head down, he just manages, oh, rat.
Oh my gosh, I feel like it's classic Looney Tunes right here.
It's brilliant. Because also they've given like the block panel underneath that, and they've just put in a word effect. Sproing.
Spring.
Oh, and he goes flying. He goes absolutely flying. Starscream rockets up, and he loses his grip on the egg spark. Of course, the bots want to congratulate B. Well, actually, Prime wants to congratulate B. Megatron is just there going, I was going to stop him, but
Love him.
not really. And there's a subtle buzz in the air, as apparently the pig and the egg spark leave Piggy Island. Everything just melts back to what it was. And we suddenly see, instead of robots talking amongst themselves, we see two little birds and a pig. Aww.
King Pig.
King Pig. And that means, of course, that their original personalities reassert themselves, which means the birds very quickly move away from the sulking, moaning King Pig. And, well, we kind of wonder what happened to that Starscream bird. And as Red notes, eyeing the sulking King Pig, hopefully the egg spark has enough juice to keep him safe until he lands somewhere. We then cut. We're in space. Not just space. Livio's face.
Livio's face.
Now, people listening to this are going to go, well, hang on a second, Adam. You said you didn't want this. You are right, people. You are absolutely right. I did not want some po-faced ending that was going to be the bots talking amongst themselves. What I didn't expect, what I don't think anyone expected, was this. Right. It's the Ark, folks. It's the Autobots. It's your G1 Livio-style Autobots. And Prime is searching in the noble way that he does for a lost artifact. Tirelessly, my Autobots and I have scoured the spaceways for any sign of the Allspark, the last hope for the survival of Cybertron. I am Optimus Prime, and this I vow. I shall search forever, if that is what fate decrees. Now, I realised very quickly that my Optimus Prime sounds like a Conservative MP, but bear with me, folks, because Prime is talking to his troop on the bridge of the Ark, and he's clearly looking for the Allspark. What he doesn't see, and what the reader at first doesn't quite understand, is that there is a pig heading directly for his screen. And it's not a pig drawn by Livio. It's drawn by Marcello and coloured by Nikos against Livio's characters.
I love this mashup so much.
And the pig goes flying through the screen, sending the bots flying. Grimlock's like, oh god, not another window.
Again?
And the bots look down and they go, and it's B. I wish it had been Prime. I would have given anything if it had been Hail, Green Pig. But no, it's the Allspark and the Green Pig. And the Green Pig looks up at the bots that now surround him, that must tower over him.
He's not even the size of their shoes.
I know, it's brilliant. And he asks them, oh, hi there. You think I could get a ride? I feel like I'd better stay out of my boss's snout for a few days. You know what this means, Nicole, don't you?
Hopefully a sequel?
It means that now I know this is technically not the IDW universe. Okay, I fully understand that. I fully understand this, okay? John, I am not holding you to anything, sir. However, I believe when it comes to your adventures with Prime and Livio, that you have maybe journeyed to and featured bars full of aliens. I want my Green Pig crossover in mainstream IDW. I don't care if it's a small cameo. Just stick a Green Pig in there.
As canon? Oh!
And don't think I'm not gonna contact Livio about doing this.
Oh my gosh.
Copyright be damned. I'm having my Green Pig in Transformers.
Oh, that'd be awesome if it was canon.
Even if it's not, even if it's one of those really subtle nods that most people don't ever get, I just, wish they'd do it.
That'd be awesome.
Anyway, back on the island, the pigs are all squabbling as they leave. And, the pig is upset because he didn't get what he wanted. But the lovely thing about this scene, and it's just 2 panels, is the fact that the minions, the 3 remaining minions, because obviously they've lost one, are now maybe considering their lot in life. We never know if they change their mind. We never know if they do anything different. But they're questioning the fact that they really enjoyed when that moment when they could do stuff that they would never do on their own. And I'm thinking, wow, what a great idea. Would in a future Angry Birds game, would we have good pigs?
Ah, there you
Or
go.
would we have pigs that want to pretend to be birds to be the good guys?
There you
If
go.
you've got pigs with weird bushy moustaches and helmets, what about pigs with pretend wings?
Oh, that'd be cute.
Guys, see, I'm just fan fiction all the way. This is how Twilight started. It's just brilliant. And then what else? Well, we've got all the birds that survived, even Drift, of course, and Chucky's back to his arrogant ways, winding up people, taking a lot of the credit and generally being a bit of a douche. Hal is also a little bit shocked by what he's been up to because he is a peaceful soul, and the Grimlock bird really didn't suit him. In fact, there was only one bird that continued to act in his regular nature throughout this whole adventure out of the birds. I'll let you guess which one it is.
That'd be Terrence.
That'd be Terrence, who is a really worrying psycho-like character all the way through this. But then he is in the game as well. So anyway,
Yes, that's right.
we reach the end of the issue, and Red and Stella check the eggs are okay. Let's face it, the things that started this whole mess off in the first place, and they're fine. And they look forward to a peaceful day, and let's face it, they do deserve it. But as they bounce away, they are completely unaware that one of the eggs starts to hatch, and it's an egg bot.
Uh-oh.
And now I'm trying to work out how this last bit works. Is it that the egg bot zaps the cactus and that becomes the robot?
It zaps the cactus, and the cactus becomes a robot. That's what I'm looking at.
Because that does make sense because the cactus, in the final frame you can't see the cactus on that side of the eggs. Okay, that's cool. But it becomes a robot and blasts away at a rock behind them. They don't realize that it's doing so. So for one final moment, they believe that everything is okay. And then we have the title come up of the beginning. Dun dun dun. Subtitle. Well, actually, this is the end of the story. Thanks for reading.
Aww.
And we're done. Nicole, I'm sure I was meant to stop this and ask you for your opinions during this, but it was so much fun to read, I just kept doing it. Apologies.
No, not a problem. Not a problem.
So we come to the end of the 4-issue mini. We've had a great setup. This is only my opinion, but we have a good setup. Admittedly, the first issue was a little bit hit and miss because we did have that clunky, kind of G1 start. Then 2 got into it, 3 developed it, and 4 actually added a lot to it. And this extra plot thing with Starscream. Still managed to fit it all in, and had an ending, and had a little in-joke ending with Prime. I don't know, is this...
It's a full circle. It's if you're a Transformers fan and you could take the piss out of something, this is definitely a series. Because it had so much fun and goodness in it. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the first issue was kind of, wonky. But that second issue, oh my gosh. So that's
it does seem as though John has done a really nice job here. Okay, it's not going to win, prizes for heartbreaking moments, but it doesn't need to because it's aimed at a slightly young.
I mean, there are some heartbreaking moments. When Galvatron took out the Bluebirds, that was kind of heartbreaking to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is getting serious. This is getting violent,
That's true.
I mean, it's no pipes, but hey.
And the thing is as well that it manages an ending. It manages a strong ending. And even though I've joked about this in jest over the last 2 issues, there's a reason why I compare it to stuff like Drift, because this has paid off a story. And if we never return to it, it's done its job. And while it may not have then an effect on anything else, of course it won't, because it's a tie-in with Angry Birds. But at the same time, I wouldn't have a problem with picking this up and rereading it, because I think there's enough in there to justify. Maybe not a constant rereading. It's we're not talking about like an R idea or a More Than Meets the Eye here, but it's certainly got enough. It certainly had enough to more than justify its existence. And I think, really, as well, for a tie-in comic with Angry Birds, I think this has really punched way above its weight. Nicole, what do you think of the artwork, especially in this final issue?
I like I said at the beginning, it's beautiful. The art and the coloring, they go together really well. The little piece with Livio, it's just 1 page, but when you have that little minion and you can see him coming through that window,
That's beautiful.
it's so cute. It's, no, what the coloring is what like the energon blue that they use
Mm.
with all the fire. It's just it pops. The expressions that the artist has used, just on the three minions alone, is amazing. But all the characters have wonderful expressions. Um, Galvatron, you can tell, is very fierce, and
Yeah.
Megatron's being snarky, and you can just hear the sarcasticness just in his face. um, yeah, the part with Drift when he goes through the wall, the colors there, I mean, the shading, and it's just beautiful. It's really well done.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely. It's a comic that maybe we're being too nice to this because we'd assumed a lower bar for this. We'd assumed that we wouldn't, this
Maybe.
would be a throwaway. But I'm sorry, look at crossovers in the past. Look at special events. I hate to say it, but look at special events in the past, and they've struggled sometimes. Again, another crossover, and Barber's just had fun with it in the spirit of the story. And yeah, I like these characters. As you said as well, Megatron in this is brilliant. He doesn't get enough time to do his overtly duplicitous role because there's so much going on. But almost every character gets a moment in this last issue, which is
Yeah.
a hefty old cast.
Oh yeah. I think the only one that I would say really didn't get a whole lot of character development in this issue is probably RC, but she got blasted. So,
Yeah, she got one of the nastiest shots. It would
yeah.
have been huge props if maybe all the birds are kind of lightly bouncing away at the end, and you just see her in the background, a corpse with a hole in it, looking much like a pink polo. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Bless. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else really. I suppose the one more thing would be if would there ever be a reason to return? Do you think to the Angry Birds universe?
In my opinion, they don't have to, but I'd like to because it's the lighthearted comic. More than
Yeah.
meets the eye, well, and formerly Robots in Disguise, the main transform. They've got some heavy stories that you have to think about once you've set down the comic. Sometimes maybe even read it a second time to make sure you picked up everything. This is one of those ones you can just pick up, have a good laugh, enjoy it. No, you don't have to come back to it, but do I want them to come back to? Yeah. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see this story continue.
Yeah, I think it would be, especially with, let's face it, I'd imagine that if Revio was going to continue this, they would probably do something around the next Transformers film release.
Ah.
And, they might have upgrades, but they definitely just look at, Angry Birds Star Wars. They'll bring out something new in line with the studio because it's good for the franchise and good for profits. And if they then...
Yeah, for both of actually,
Yeah, and if they turned around to, John and said, would you do another series? I think it would be great. And if not, then I look forward to the first person who's got the stones to do an Angry Birds mosaic.
That'd be awesome.
Because it would be good. So,
see, that's another thing. John enjoys this. I mean, he was able to, do these characters to the extreme that we all like. Look at Soundwave Pig, always having to explain everything, and the whole beeping bumblebee. That was a riot. The only thing that this issue could have been better is when Starscream was getting his upgrade, he got his crown.
Yeah, that would have been nice actually. That would have been cool.
That's the only thing I missed about this issue. I'm like, dang it, I wish he had his crown.
I didn't realize as well, right at the end when we see Galvatron Pig back as a pig, and he's looking pretty sheepish actually, but he's got an ace of spades tucked into his helmet.
Oh yeah.
That's another upgrade.
Is it? Oh
Yeah, you
wow.
can actually pick up an upgrade for, the robot wears just inside his sort of little crown effect. But yeah, I mean, I think these characters, if they did come back, I don't think that would be a bad thing because that's the right tone for kids. But I know with RID coming up as well, you've got something that's going to be pitched at that market
Oh,
anyway.
I keep
So
on forgetting that's coming out too. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know if that's a free comic book day comic, so I'm hoping it becomes an ongoing. And trust me, as soon as we find out and we get some issues in, we'll start reviewing them obviously on the show. So Nicole, what do you think for this issue then? Give us a mark out of 5, and then for the series as a whole.
This, oh man, this this issue, I like I said, the only thing I could say is RC didn't get a whole lot of development. She got a couple little moments there, but and the whole crown. I wish I would have seen the crown. But overall, I really can't complain about it. Um, when I saw Livio's work, it's kind of like that the minion pig
Yeah.
sells. So, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna give this a good, I'd say 4.5. It was awesome. I loved it.
Wowzers.
I
Okay.
really enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's so much action, a lot of humor. I mean, the cute little minion pigs. They're worth a point in themselves right there. So,
That's true. And what would you then give this for the series as a whole?
the series as a whole, I probably give it the same rating, 4.5, just because I had a lot of fun with it. The first issue is kind of squampy a little bit, but I need to go back and reread the first issue. But from what I can remember of the series as a whole, I really enjoyed it. So
Nice.
much fun. Fun little jabs at maybe the movie industry, you know?
Oh yeah, there are the jabs at B, jabs at everything, really.
Yeah. But
Played for
there's not
laughs.
yeah, there's not a character I do not care for. I enjoy every single of these characters. Uh, they had, like I said, it came full circle. Good beginning, middle, end, a lot of adventure. Yes, I'd give it a 4.5. Why not? I know I'm an adult
Nice.
rated kids comic, but I don't care. I loved it.
Look, we can't start proclaiming anything because yeah, as you say, we play these games and we're reading these comics for you, so
Exactly. What about
that's
you?
what we do. For me, it's a weird one.
I know that's the
I
thing. It's really
I think for this issue, it's 3.5. I suppose because it didn't have some of the loud out moments. I'm impressed by the way that it resolved itself. I'm amazed that they actually managed to include what was an added story element with Starscream and with Galvatron, which really just, that's a lot of stuff, so much packed in. And this is what I was saying earlier. I think there's an element of this that reminds me of the G.I. Joe comics with Scioli. That just you almost get highlights of each scene, and that gives you enough detail to kind of flesh out what's happened. And John does a great job of it. There's a lot of story in here, a lot of character. Almost everyone is in the right character throughout. We miss out on, I think the only thing I kind of missed out on was we didn't get any resolution on the eggs with mouths.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which was really, I mean, that punched up last issue because that was a genuinely horrifying scene. That was creepy as anything.
Yeah.
So that was, so it kind of came to an end on a very efficient note, absolutely. And the choice of using as well, both the artists for the birds and piggies on the piggy Starscream, and then using Livio for the robots, wonderful. I just think that makes it, because you are so pleased when you realize that is our piggy. That's not suddenly gone back into Livio's world.
Mhm.
And that, yes, he might turn up in the background in the future. You never know. So
Fingers
overall,
crossed.
though,
Fingers crossed.
it's 3.5 for the issue, and I'm going to give it 4 for the series because I think it's what IDW need. It's a good, strong crossover series that in 4 issues has told a good story, had a lot of laughs, wonderful characters. I'm still going to try and get Alex Milne to draw me a Galvatron pig because I think he'd do an amazing job. And it's just,
Oh yeah.
it's worth rereading, and I think that's good. He's done a fantastic job, so
See,
there we
I
go.
think that's a true testament to how good the story is. Would you go back and reread this? And I'm like, yeah, I go back and reread this. I,
Yeah, it's not always going to be to hand because it's a finite story, but it does its job.
I really had. See, I had a hard time with the series when I told people I'm like reading it and reviewing it. Like, are you serious? I'm like, don't judge it just because it's a crossover with Angry Birds. It's a really fun story. People.
Yeah, and the guys have made it more than it had any right
Oh
to be.
yeah, for sure.
Which surprises when you see other issues, other stories that are less than they should be. So it's like, yeah, well done, guys. So we reach the end then of Angry Birds Transformers. I'm still wondering what's going to come up next. Sesame Street Transformers, Thundercats Transformers.
I would be happy with my Mars Attacks again.
I think anyone would. I think if we can get Frank onto anything Transformer based, it will be a good thing. But we shall see. Until then, Ms. Nicole, please take care of yourself.
You too, sir.
And please don't worry about Auto Assembly 2015 being the last
Oh,
Auto
I'm not worried
Assembly.
about it because I'm going to 2015 and having a good old time. Woohoo!
And if you weren't, then I would still advise you to relax and take it easy, as I would anyone out there. I think they've got the message by now. Anyway, you folks take care out there, and we'll all speak to you soon. Take care.
Aloha!
Bye.
Underbase complete. Cease transmission.